Hello. I am here this evening to pull some cards. I'm going to use the Psychic Tarot by John Holland and the Gateway of Light Activation deck by Kyle Gray, and then I'm going to share some stuff that I've been thinking about that's been coming up in the collective energy recently. And I'm actually going to finish this video by providing a decree. You could view it as an activation. It's something for you to invoke personally from the first person. So you could repeat it like line by line after I say it. But the purpose of it, I don't usually do things like this on camera. I usually do prayer and incantations and invocations for myself, because I do not feel like I'm at the level where I can offer them for people to follow along with. But I think that's going to be shifting in the future because I've never done this before. But the reason why you would want to use it is if you've been trying to enact change and you haven't been able in your life, enact change, make changes, grow things, grow your abundance, grow a business, grow a, the amount of opportunities you're experiencing, you're dating or whatever it is that you're doing, and you're not seeing results. It could very well be that there's something going on with you energetically, or there's a blockage that you're not aware of and you're not able to remove it if you're not detecting it or not conscious of it. And this isn't, for some people, this could have a very immediate transformational effect. Could you wait, please, sir? I don't want you to do that. Please wait right now. No. Go lie down. Thank you. It could have immediate results, like a quantum healing, even remote healing that operates at a quantum level can be instantaneous. Or what it could do, you could immediately after doing this experience some things that start going wrong. And that is because you have asked to be shown or made conscious of what needs correcting, what needs to be fixed in order to move forward without these blocks, inadvertently, indirectly. That's what you're going to be asking for. So it's powerful, it's very useful, but I would not do it lightly unless you're ready to do all of the things. And you can listen to me say it and do it and then decide if you want to repeat it or claim that energy for yourself. But the first thing I want to talk about is this strange energy that's in the collective definitely right now. And it's sort of always present, but it's been ramping up a lot. And it reminds me of an energy that we felt 4 years ago. And it's very much the public is in this rapt attention of waiting to see what happens, waiting energy. What's the next thing that's going to come out? And it's this tense, anxious form of waiting. Waiting is sort of like paralysis. It's suspension. And I put something on my Instagram story last night, which always pulls a very strange reaction. Because obviously people who watch this channel choose to watch this channel. They're interested in the subject matter and stuff. My Instagram is just a bunch of people that I know from kind of. But when people watch my Instagram stories, I can get psychic feedback from different energies of how people feel and think about what I've written and all of that. And I was talking about what was I talking about? It's important to remember that you are the call. You are not the response. And energetically, we've been locked into this system of observing the world and how it operates, as in we are the response. But we're actually the call. And what we're living is because we keep providing the call in only a few very finite, limited ways that have been corralled strategically so that we will only put out calls as the manifestors of our realities that don't threaten to make crumble the structures that are highly profiting off of our limited experience of reality as we know it right now. Profiting in a bunch of different ways, I might add. And I don't want to go too deep into all of that right now. But I got a couple responses to the post that I had put. And one thing that I responded to when somebody was like, I'm just waiting for the aliens to come down. It's like, I said, just don't wait. Go seize the day. They might come down, they might not. It might happen tomorrow. It might happen 5 years from now. Maybe they've been here on Earth, inside Earth, the whole time, long before humanity. maybe we are all hybridized with different kinds of other non-Earth origin genetics. Every single person on Earth could be an alien. Like what? There's all of these things are going to these places that people's minds are going right now is like a very what if energy. And it's not just about, it's about all sorts of things, but like tuning into that. It's just like, well, what if this, what if that, what if that? My advice from the energetic perspective is to sort of cut that out, see it more so as the stream of clouds that float through the blue sky on a windy day, but they're all just like free electrons in quantum entanglement probabilities. They're all probabilities. Yes, there are truths. There are truths about what really is going on in the world and what has been going on in the world that we cannot agree on at this time because they've not been publicly acknowledged, and that's okay. And you actually don't have to, another thing is like, well, we're waiting for them to be publicly acknowledged. You can. There's a reason why we have thousands and thousands of people remembering Atlantis or Lemuria or Mu or creating connections with galactic families. There's a reason for that. It's not because we're all the same kind of crazy. It's because that's what happens when you start to disconnect and go within. We have this collective thread running through us, and it's not for everybody, right? There's different levels of resonating. We are effectively all different kinds of beings. Even if you're a human, we're all humans because of your Akash and the fact that we inhabit different places simultaneously. You're not just limited to your one physical body. And so what people access when they get quiet, when they start to unplug from the frequencies that they've been, if you're on this little circuit, this little circuitous track, and you're only ever entertaining certain ideas about reality, and all of a sudden you sort of break out of that. And you're suspending disbelief, and you're holding room for seemingly contradictory paradigms to exist. And a lot of people are going through this right now, which is why I'm talking about it. But like breaking out of it's only like this. And like, I mean, it sort of is what if energy, but it's not on that anxious grind of just churning through the what ifs. It has this very buoyant zero gravity feeling of like removing these firm boundaries where you're just allowing for yourself to consider things, knowing that it's safe to consider things. And I actually started this video over because I started trying to channel through this message, and I started getting really off topic in a way that I did not find it productive to keep talking about. So let me try to not make this the longest thing ever. But I want to go back to that idea that you're not the response. We are not the response. Yes, things come out in the media and the news every day, but when it comes to what you experience in a sustained way over time, over, days, over weeks, over years, that's on you. I just wanted to remind people of that, because what it truly is a call to be extremely discerning with what you're consuming, the content that you're consuming. We can look at certain things and say, oh, obviously that's fake, that's a bit, that's staged, or obviously that's, I'm watching it, but I don't actually agree with it. I'm even thinking of like trash TV, stuff like that, like things that we just watch because they're entertaining. Even that stuff, be very cautious of that right now, simply because if you're repeatedly exposing your subconscious mind, but your subconscious to these things, it does not have the ability at that subconscious level to discern between what you're actually deciding is true and what is not. It's all flattened in that way. It's just stimulus that goes in and affects the way that you see things and make decisions. We can't hold everything in our brains at once. So the things that we are seen and presented with in a repeated fashion, they hold more bearing in the way that we interpret follow-up stimulus, right? And we've done studies on this around the human brain. It's not a supercomputer. They can be programmed. fairly easily. And what we don't realize, I mean, what we do realize this, everybody knows this, it's obvious at this point, but aside from just how highly addictive smartphones have been designed to be, we create our own programming. I mean, there's something for everybody, but it's going to be important right now through the end of the year to just make sure that you give yourself the space and time that your soul would probably like from a higher dimensional perspective, to consider things that you haven't considered before, to let yourself think in different ways, to tune out of the stuff that has been your like regular, like a show you watch all the time. It's just advisable to do that, because when we do that, when we strip it down to neutral stimulus, not having the same stuff constantly, you're left with what is in your mind, what surfaces, what comes up. You know, if I was a really big Taylor Swift fan, I would probably reference her lyrics. If I was a really big, you know, I mean, this goes without saying, our frame of reference is what we experience in life. And that also, it's not just our experiences, that's also the media that we consume. So there's definitely something around this waiting energy that you can take your power back from that. You can not be in that if you want to. You can get a plan in your head and decide that it will manifest, and know that when you focus on what it is that you're doing each and every day, the universe, if you have set your intentions to manifest a certain outcome, and that outcome is aligned with the highest good of all, because what's truly good for you, if you want something that's aligned, it's not going to hurt anybody else. It's not going to make anybody else feel negative if it is truly aligned. If people do feel negative or feel like it's not a good thing that you're doing, it is because they have unresolved karma, blockages, and baggage that is being highlighted by what it is that you're doing, because what you're doing is illuminated and aligned, and is highlighting the shadows that they have not resolved. This is taking me back to a vision that I received yesterday when I was walking my dog, about almost like igneous rock is the kind of rock that's like sort of lightweight. It's formed by lava, and it's very porous because you have those air bubbles that form in the lava, and you can see it on like, you know, beaches or like volcanic, like I don't even know where you would find igneous rock, all over, right? Because geology is so mixed in time periods and whatever. But I see humans that way as well. It's like all of us have these cavities with these very porous structures, these cavities, and these cavities develop over time, these holes and these nooks and these crannies. When we experience life, we all get kind of dinged up, and then we try to fill those cavities with something. And those are just like the common vices that everybody uses in our world today. But that stuff needs to be purged out in order for those cavities to unite into one essence. Like what the vision is really about, having energetic blocks, which most of the people on earth do, and experiencing them as knots in a chain or tangles, like little twists, these little deposits in an otherwise unified whole that we are recognizing as separate little pockets and moments, and treating very specifically and individually to that part of the body or that part of the psychology or that part of your life or trauma history, and bringing it back into the integrated self. It no longer dictates at a subconscious level who you are and how you behave. You've healed from it. So, I mean, like a good example of very interesting as well with spirituality and healing, you could have somebody that does all of the right things, who's very conscious of their own blocks. Like mentally conscious, cognizant of the fact that they've been through trauma, that they have these things to work on. They go to yoga, they drink lemon water, they do a meditation circle, and I don't know, do sound baths every Friday. Like, all of these things are good on paper, but they could be in that routine for 25 years and never experience it. They could still be locked in that one level of the video game and never actually ascend at that like bioenergetic level that changes your body, changes your energy, changes you at the cellular structure, removing the block so that your energy is changing, your body is metabolizing energy in a different way, and your life is shifting as a result of how you feel, and it's all interconnected. They may never experience that graduation or that clearance because all of these things that they're doing in the outside, they don't really matter. You can have a person who eats garbage food, but they're extremely healthy. And then you could have somebody who eats extremely well and they're riddled with illness, because a lot of the things that we do, if we convince ourselves it's either good or bad, you're right either way. This is the power of the mind over what we experience. Also tons of stuff. I mean, if you want to know, I could, if you email me, I can tell you books to read that will teach you all about this. So, and I'm not saying it's advisable, right, to be like, oh, well, I'm one of the people that can just eat junk food and still have perfect health, right? Because there is a real physical impact on the body, like chemistry, when those things interact. But what is more influential is what you think the interaction is. And there's also, I have a couple messages coming through about that whole idea of like levels of a video game. I was in a live chat the other day, and I was chatting with another person who was in the live chat because they were just speaking into the open chat, and they were like, this is AI, like, is anybody there? And no one was responding. So I was like, I'm not AI, I'm here. Hi. And I was telling them about the meditation. It was like a guided meditation. And I was, I was just chatting with them. And I was explaining why I was watching that video. Those videos it's a series of videos by Patricia Cota Robles. And I mean, everybody resonates with different content. Okay, that's fine. I can watch certain activations and have very, very intense sensations. I can see visions. They have profound impacts on me, and maybe another person watches it and doesn't have that experience. They're just sitting there, they don't see anything, and they don't feel anything. And they were saying, why is it that you're experiencing things that I'm not experiencing? And I relate to this because I remember this. I wanted so badly. I've talked about this before, so I'm sorry if you've heard me talk about this before, but I used to really want to experience what is known as astral projection when I learned what it was. And there's a reason why it appealed to me, obviously, because time is an illusion. Was actively astral projecting back then when I desperately wanted to, but never remembered it, because we always are. We are simultaneously existing in multiple places at once. And it's fascinating because really what it comes down to is the level of readiness that your consciousness is at during a certain point in your earthly becoming. And there's no wrong time. A lot of people are like, I'm not ascending. My gifts aren't opening. I'm not evolving. I'm not experiencing anything different. I don't have these subtle sensations in my body when, it's not working. That is true, maybe, right? But it also takes an acceptance of that. Like, okay, that's the report. Okay, all right, well, it's not working. Okay. Step 1 is acceptance. It's not working. Step 2 is keep trying, but also reframe the fact that it's not working into, I'm not going to say it's working or it's not. I accept that this is a journey and I'm just evolving infinitely, endlessly. And so it's not really beneficial to say it's not working. It's what am I experiencing? And just let it be what it is. And don't try to change it. Don't try to fix it. And that is the gateway to noticing more and more and starting to experience those things. And it could happen very quickly and it could happen slowly. But the more you sit there and say, I don't experience anything, then that will be true. And there's this very specific kind of apathy and irritation that people get when they're like, oh, I can't meditate. Like, I don't know how to do this. Like, I'm not really like a seated, quiet meditator. I do meditation that's partnered with an activity because I'm sort of an ADHD person. I'm kind of squirrely. I like to move my energy through things, but like, it could be a meditation where I'm just like doing things on the floor, like a stretching body meditation, but I'm actively engaged with my breath work, with like fire breathing to activate the sacral, or like all of this stuff. I mean, it's just, I see it as this beautiful toolkit. You can do whatever you need to, whatever you want to throughout the day, little adjustments to keep your energy stabilized and balanced. And then life is all just one big meditation. It doesn't have to be like, well, I don't meditate, or I can't, or I don't know how, or it doesn't work for me. Then maybe a seated meditation where you're not doing anything to partner that with, that mindfulness activity with, is not for you. But I do want to talk about that, because touching on that very specific kind of anxiety that people get, that's like pure existential angst. When you're sitting there and you're like, okay, well, I'm supposed to be meditating, but like I'm having ideas and like thoughts, and like I don't really want to do this. Like I might as well just like get up. Like that phase is like, no, just stick it out, because there's something very important that happens during that like mental conversation, where I at least can convince myself like, wait, once you walk yourself through those steps, like, well, then I would go do this, then I'd go do this, and I'd go do this, and then I would probably, go to sleep and wake up and do it again, and then I'd be dead. Like it's just like, well, what am I rushing to? Like, what am I going to go do? What is this? And usually a lot of people develop, whether or not they can acknowledge this, but they develop these urgencies around like, well, I'm a little jumbled today. I'm realizing I'm trying to get things out in a clear way, but whatever. The more, without realizing it, if somebody's in this urgent state, or they're trying to get to something, or they're trying to be done with something, it's often because they're having a hard time with distress tolerance at a root level. They may not realize this, but what they're wanting to get to is like, I just want to have my drink after work. I just want to go like hit my bowl, or like have a cigarette, or I'm just ready to go get back in bed again and be done with this. They're trying to experience a form of what they have used as relief from the sheer fact that they're alive. We're all just racing around trying to not feel the existential dread of being alive. And like, it's been super interesting for me for the past few weeks to experience certain blockages that I've been working extremely hard for the last long time around my painting process and my creative gifts that have, it's complicated. There's past life stuff going on. There's a whole lot. And it's taken a very long time for me to understand that. And we can't really resolve things if we're not aware of them or understand them. And it's just been so many pieces of this puzzle. And I feel very clear. I've had some major victories on a personal level that I'm not going to go into with my own karma clearing recently. And I'm just sharing that because I'm not going to go into it, but I realized that with myself. It's like I was trying to go around and have this aversion to just sitting down and doing the work of painting certain things at certain times, but I didn't need anything else. I wasn't actually tired. I wasn't actually hungry. I didn't actually need to, there wasn't anywhere else to go. And that was important for me to realize because it pulls us back into the present moment, and it helps us know that we are, even if we don't think that we are, all antenna. We are all inextricably linked to one another through the quantum field of interconnectedness. And a lot of the times we're just feeling other people's grief and anxiety, and it's not actually ours. And we need to remind ourselves of that. And sometimes in order to remind yourself of that, you have to feel it so much that it's like, hold on a minute. Where am I even going? What am I even feeling all of this for? I become mindful of the fact that there's a lot of anxiety in me or around me, And I don't relate to it. I don't want it. I don't need it. And I have certain practices around releasing and transmuting things down through my root chakra, earth star chakra, down into the center of the earth. Think about the earth. Huge ass planet. Beautiful planet. There's a lot going on in this planetary body, and she can handle all of the energy that we don't want and need. So it's never like, I'm going to take this very toxic thing and put it down into the earth like it's a garbage can or a landfill. That's not right. It's that we are of earth. So our energetic bodies are connected both to her and the higher dimensional realms. I've talked about this too at length before, but we are the conduit. You are the conduit. You're very special because you have both spirit and earth. And you get to experience both spirit and earth and pull all of that beautiful non-physical energy from spirit down into earth and enact it through what you do and what you make and all of this and what we do together. But Mother Earth wants you to transmute those energies by visualization or feeling it exit out of the bottom of your spine or whatever you do. Everybody connects to their own ways of managing the energy. Because we're transmuting it. You're doing it. It doesn't matter where you got it or why you feel that way. You are doing the energetic labor for the whole. And that is super important. That's also why right now, oh my gosh, I'll just say this too. I can at any given point in time, like scroll back through my YouTube channel, click on any video, watch it for like 10 seconds and be like, God, this is embarrassing. Why would I do that? Why would I say that? What is this? What are you talking about? And often, and I don't do that anymore. I used to watch them. I don't watch my own videos anymore regularly. I mean, I haven't been posting them that much or as much as I used to. But my guides remind me that's a good thing, Mariah. That's a good thing. You've changed. You've come a long way in even not so much time. And we're always changing. But I do know that it would be easy for me to watch my own videos and have like a full-on debate and be like, well, there's other ways of looking at that. Get into it with myself. That makes it mortifying to ever put my name or face or identity onto my ideas and be like, this is what she thinks. Because I also understand how I could see it from different ways and how the certain concepts that I dance around are like very, they're easy to disagree with. There's easy ways to understand things through a multitude of lenses. And everything is but a translation. So, I mean, putting that out there for a number of reasons, but it's important to remember that if you're doing your best at any given time, that's enough. And you're allowed to go forth with that knowledge. That's enough. That's all that anybody is ever doing. A lot of people know they're not doing their best. And they self-sabotage because they're afraid of actually doing their best and it not working. I mean, we don't have to go into all that, but not the time to play small. There's going to be a very natural compartmentalization throughout the Age of Aquarius, which is the next 20 years. And we will not see Pluto in Aquarius for the rest of our lifetime. But for the next 19, 20 years, it's going to be in the sign of Aquarius. And so it's going to affect different signs within the zodiac differently. Cardinal signs, Aries, Libra, Capricorn, and Aquarius. And what am I saying? Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn are the cardinal signs. And we have been going through specific, very challenging karma for 15 years in order to be equipped for this chapter. It's so exciting. It's so exciting. But then there are other signs who have signed up to go through a period of growth and learning and lessons that begins now. So it's just important, again, regardless of what you experience, how you relate to certain content, what you're going through. Man, even if your life starts to fall apart, I promise you, accepting that it's happening is going to be your gateway to any kind of transformation of that situation. And I also, it's important to know that this is my belief. Anything could happen right now. I think a lot of people, and this goes back down to our, what we have come to accept as a people is normal, is regular. There's a very serious reason why life from other planets is always depicted as the flying saucers and certain kinds of beings and it's the same reason why a lot of very beautiful themes around the power of love and the reality of magic and like frequency magic. There's a lot of quantum mechanics baked into like Pixar movies and stuff, you know, but it's sequestered to this childlike thing where from a very young age, we're like, that's in the conversation, but it's fake. It's make-believe. It's fiction. It's childish. And then we're also inundated with certain kinds of content growing up where it's like, well, you can't believe in that anymore because that's childish. So you're babyish for still believing, you know, these things, Santa. And so we end up being this whole society that's like, well, you can't this, that doesn't work because of this. And all those wedges that we bounce the aspects of the argument off of to build our understanding are faulty. They're just the way that information's been reiterated, but they're not actually based off of anything that we've observed that's like seriously true or verifiable. So I'm just thinking about all this stuff around like ETs and stuff and my personal thing. I didn't even watch that hearing. I didn't watch the congressional hearing. I saw a couple clips of it, but it sounds like it left it like anything that goes, that remains open-ended where it's like, well, we can't confirm nor deny. That's just a distraction. I don't have any time for that type of content from, not content, disclosure, because it's still just trying to do it's avoiding like it's not I don't know how to put it, but I just want for, regardless of the way that we're kind of tiptoeing into all of that, there could be, we just need to open up our minds. This is going to happen forcibly, whether people want to go there or not. But like, why don't we open our minds to considering that a ship of extraterrestrials could vacuum seal it into the size of a speck of dust? It could be right in front of your face and you would never know. The same rules don't apply. Even the rules of physics and gravity, as we know them, probably don't apply to them. Why would that be impossible? It's not ours to say. And so that's hard for people because it's like, that's just dumb. Like, why am I gonna, like, this is the whole thing. So I've been seeing lots of UFOs. They've been talking to me. I get messages from them. I don't see them as, they look like clouds sometimes, but I get transmissions. Or like I was out in a field and I felt, I was told like up and this way, and I looked and I saw it. And it will be there and then it will be gone, or there'll be, even like the topography of how our skies and our atmospheres are presenting, the levels of light. You're going to continue to see those little sundogs more and more. Sundogs are those little spots of rainbow that don't actually take an arc shape. That's the plasma. There's different things happening that we have not experienced before atmospherically, and there are other things coming in that are taking advantage of that, and it's all changing. So anyway, I was outside the other night and it was nighttime, but I could see there was neon pink light everywhere. It was almost like the most subtle aurora borealis that you've ever seen, and it was moving. There was purple light, there was pink light. Anything could happen at any time. And the more we sort of just accept that and know that we are eternal beings, we are in the process right now of experiencing the lives that we have. I am you, you are me. We're just under different circumstances based on what we determined to experience in this lifetime. Here for a good time, not a long time. Here to learn, here to witness, but also here to remember that it's a choice with your free will in the third dimensional realm of duality to decide that you're not going to run off of always being afraid and, being the response to a call that you didn't put out. It's the era of rewriting that, changing that, doing that differently. I was telling my friend about this the other day. I go to this place in the astral. I don't really know anything about it. Maybe other people go here too, but it's like this weird interspecies Burning Man realm where there's humanoid figures, but there's different kinds of beings that are like nothing I've ever seen, well, obviously, nothing I've ever seen on Earth, but nothing I've ever seen in, you know, the shared communal understandings of the different starseed races, galactic, like Pleiadian, Arcturian, Orion, Sirian, Lyran. And then all of the, you know, Reptilian, Archon, Draconian, Anunnaki. It's so complicated. I mean, there's so much history within all of it, but there were lots of different kinds of beings in this place that don't fall. I mean, there's basically infinite, right? Infinite kinds of creatures in existence. But anyway, it's this realm, and I started to consider that it's like the future. It's like the future. It's like we've become so hybridized with so many different things, different beings, different applications of technology, that life on Earth sort of became this interspecies Burning Man, like this spectator festival type of thing with like coliseums and like little refreshment stands. It's very interesting. So anyway, fulfillment of wishes and the Empress, beautiful. Just cutting the deck. All right, very, very weird. I'm sorry, it was kind of a weird rambling type of messaging sequence. But I'll just confirm with my guides after I finish filming the video if this video is of benefit to post or not. I typically ask that and they'll say yes or no. And if it is, even just a little bit, even if one of my videos influences one person, that person could go on to influence lots of people. So you never know. And it is what it is. What is our energy here right now where we're at? This is the day that Pluto is moving into Aquarius. It's the 19th of November. Angelic frequency. Angels are here. You are safe. Potent connection. And positive movement forward with the 8 of Pentacles. I really love this because I've been channeling angels a lot recently. I've been in a deep, I get, when I am painting, what happens to my brain waves is like meditation. It's that flow state. It's that activity partnered with the mindfulness of like release. And I touched on this probably last week, I'm getting a new kind of psychic download that comes into me in this different way. It doesn't come in the way that I'm used to receiving psychic information. It's very much like I'll just be muttering about something and then I realize what I'm saying and I'm like, whose thoughts are these? What the heck am I talking about? It is very weird because I don't care what I'm doing. When I'm alone, I don't judge myself. If you watched me, I would look like an insane person, rolling on the floor, talking to myself. I mean, a lot of us probably do, but we're not crazy. We're just alone and we're just in our element, vibing and doing our thing. But I wouldn't, if I wasn't comfortable enough. I've thought about doing live stream when I'm painting I'll do that eventually one day. There will come a day when I do live streams for painting, but that day is just a touch far off still. And I think about that sometimes because I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever feel comfortable enough. This is where I'm at now. This is okay. I accept where I'm at now. Where I'm at now is that I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that in front of a live stream where anybody's welcome to join or an audience. Because I like to paint where I can just start rambling, start talking, start saying something, and feel safe to do that. So anyway, Let's read from the book about this one, Angelic Frequency. I'm also getting from this card, it said, you are safe. That's what I started this message off by talking about. This could be in the take one that I did when I started the video over, but I was initially saying I had just doused myself in patchouli and myrrh oil, and I was talking about the oils that can be good for the root chakra and for groundedness, because we do have this, excuse me, this collective sense of fear and anxiety like running through us right now, where we don't know. It's not like anything could happen and so we feel extremely threatened. I mean to say, prepare yourself that anything could happen in like this, like, wait, life is extremely cool and exciting, like a good thing. Why is that not normalized? Normalize what ifing in the positive direction. But addressing the way that you feel grounded and if you feel safe is, again, doing that energetic labor for the whole, because we can't do it for other people. And a lot of us want to go outside of ourselves and be like, well, I can just get them to see, I can explain it and then they'll understand. And like, it doesn't work like that either. You could explain something in 60 different languages and diagrams and this and that. And if somebody doesn't, walk through the fire on their own, it will not make sense in most cases when it comes to certain concepts of a spiritual nature that transcend language, because it doesn't sound right to somebody. These words are going to fit into their framework and they're going to hear it and they're going to think that they understand, because we're never like, oh, I'm aware of well, sometimes we're like this, but typically we don't say, I'm aware of the fact that I don't understand. That's usually not a conscious process because we possess the misconception, but it wouldn't be a misconception if we were aware that we possessed it. I don't really know why I'm talking about this, so let's just read this, okay? Angelic Frequency. I am putting out this series of paintings right now that I'm doing for the angels, because angels are real. If you weren't aware, angels are accessible, omnipresent, interdimensional beings that you can call on so that you don't have to do the labor of everything that we do naturally, energetically, on your own. And what I would like to do is make real the frequency in a visual form of some of the angel energies that I interact with, so that when people look at those paintings, they can become activated. It's not necessarily about, it is about, I love making beautiful paintings. I like making paintings. I like painting and blah, blah, blah. I more or less like getting the visions and making them real, but it does not matter what it looks like. It's the fact that that energy is what I'm connecting to, and then I paint it. And then that energy is outside of my body, and I've gone into that higher dimensional space and I've put it into this space. And that's how we bridge this gap energetically. It's important to, well, this calls into question the function of art and humanity and all of this stuff. So I'm not going to go there, but I haven't been this scatterbrained in a while, so I'm like, thanks if you're watching this. I'm sure it's not the most enjoyable thing to watch, just because I'm so kind of bouncing around today. All right. Angels are here. You are safe. Potent connection. The angelic frequency is the energy of the angels in the angelic kingdom, which is aligned to service, devotion, authenticity, and love. When this frequency comes to us, it's because the gateway of our heart has aligned with it. We've essentially become an angel upon the earth. Angels are the heartbeats of Source. And so when we're in touch with the angelic realm, we're also connected to the heart of God. This card features a being of light. The streams of light surrounding it are the angelic frequency pouring down to light up our life. This image also unlocks our soul memories of our guardian angel before we were in this life. We danced across the midnight sky, and as the universe follows the law of attraction, our angel was attracted to us because our likeness was also in them. So we became connected, and since then our angel has been with us through every lifetime and every experience. Yes. I've also been, I've become aware of something pretty profound in the last week and a half, which I will share because it's slightly related to this. And angelic beings and angels are different from extraterrestrials, yet both are primarily existing in higher dimensional realms. In a hierarchy, which there isn't really a hierarchy in all of existence, because yeah, we can see it as we're here and they're in a higher band of frequency. But if you step outside all of that and you look at it, it's just one big shape, you know? It's just one thing. It's a whole. And it's all connected. The part down here is equally as much a part up here, the monad, God. But anyway, what I'm getting at is that the dimensions, right, go higher and higher. There's less even semblance of physicality and delineation between light. There's less, like you can have what used to be thousands of individual consciousnesses united into one being that call themselves the Hathors, you know, or whatever. So speaking about this, because a lot of the depictions of ETs is, you know, the whole like demon thing, whatever, but they are quite literally closer to God energetically. They are closer to God than we are. This is why they have technology and principles. Different groups of beings have different skill sets, or their societies have evolved to become oriented around different things. And so I have a very strong Arcturian connection, and they're fairly balanced in their masculine and feminine energies, but there's also a deep maternal, even though they're very balanced in their masculine and feminine energies, sort of androgynously embodied, really. But because they're so balanced, it almost feels like a very feminine energy, because we're actually not on Earth. Super familiar with healed feminine energy because of this long-standing suppression of it and fear of it and bastardization of what it looks like when it's healthfully embodied. But it's this incredibly scrutinizing feeling. And I've figured it out that because these beings have watched me and been with me for my entire life, it's what resulted in my phobia growing up of aliens. Ever since I could remember, I've been afraid of aliens, like lying awake at night as a child and like trying to tell my parents and nobody believing me and not growing out of it, and being embarrassed as like a teenager, or like, you know, when I was 21, like these things happening, and not being able to shake this serious level of surveillance that I've existed with. And I still have it, but I've made the connection that it's the same feeling. And it's an incredibly, what it feels like, how I described it to myself last week was like, there's like this orb sort of in the upper part of like every field of view I could ever do. And in the upper part of it, this like half circle in front of me, there's like huge beings that are all just like crouched around, always looking in, always watching. And the reason why it scared me to my core is because I could never get away from it. And it felt so uncompromising and hard to, you know, for a child to experience. I'm putting this out there in case you also have felt this way, by the way. And when I was really struggling with that phobia, I actually set up a session and worked with this man named Peter Faust, who was the first guy to really talk about alien abduction or the concept of it at a public level. He went on Oprah with the psychiatrist that helped him do his regressions. The psychiatrist, who has since died, is named John Mack, and he was a Harvard academic. So it was this, you know, he had like the good name attached to the guy, and the guy was writing a book on all of these different phenomena that people were having. But what he said to me was like, you know, if you have a connection with the angels, which I did at this time in my early 20s when I sort of relapsed into like severe insomnia for not being able to rest easy, for feeling like I was going to be taken or something, you know, there's just been this fear that's manifested in a bunch of ways. What I know now is that they really wanted to connect with me. They really wanted to connect with me. I can hear like vibrations sometimes, or sounds in my ears, or I would know when they were close. And to the point where during one of these I had a missing time experience where I had an encounter with them. And right before it, I had called my mom. I was in my early 20s at this point. I called her and I said, I know that they're here. And like, I know how it sounds. My mom doesn't necessarily she hasn't had the same experiences, but I'm her daughter and she has believed me growing up over that. To her absolute credit, thank you, Mother, for always just letting me be my strange self, listening to me. But, without having any verifiable proof, I was like, they're here. It's because I'm one of them. And you probably are too, if you listen to me. We have come from them as a representative. You are like an ambassador. And a lot of so there's that maternal feminine thing that I was talking about with their energy, but they're also extremely intelligent, like keepers of the secrets of the universe type level intelligence. And what has been revealed to me about my connection with them even more is that there's a ton of stuff that I put out there into the world that I actually don't retain. And it's because I'm channeling their genius frequency. It's not because I know it. It's not actually in Mariah's brain. It's because I have a very clear connection to the 9th dimensional Arcturian Council that has access to that infinite pool of genius wisdom about this universe. And a lot of us can forge that connection or nurture it if you have it in existence already. And a lot of, I think, being in this type of role is playing with the experience before you share it. Like, I can't tell you how slow I feel I've taken certain things, and I intend to continue taking them very slow because there's no rush. And that's another collective message that I meant to get out at the beginning of this reading. There's this strange urgency that everybody's got going on, and I just want to, every now and then it makes me want to kind of like freak out and be like, oh my God, can everybody? But then I'm like, there is a pinhole at my heart chakra, and all of the intensity that I'm feeling, my guides have asked me, transmute it, all of the stuff that you would not want to go back out there, like the negative emotions, all of that exits down into the center of the earth. And what I am actually permitted to express as a result, a little pinhole in my heart chakra, and it just leaks out love in the purest form. So I'm like a distillery, and I kind of have to sift through all of it. And then once it's all said and done, I can emit my output, which is only love, because we have alchemized and made sense of the rest of it. The reason why I'm saying this is because I've been agitated to such extreme degrees lately, but I can understand why when I realize just how much energy, it's just the product of all of this energy. And there's different swells of it, and different, coming from different people, or coming from my own need to ground or do things for my energy. All right, so I'm just going to circle back here for a second. The reason why I believe that these cards have come out together is because this is the 8 of Pentacles. Positive movement forward, sailing off into the sun. This is the light, the sun. Angels are of the light. Another thing that I think about a lot is like, the sun is like, it's the brightest thing. If you can't look at it, right? It's so bright. Everything else on earth is different shades of that light from the sun on different objects. Like that light, if you go outside of the experience of living on earth, is just the tip of the iceberg as far as like the power of universal energies. That's one sun, one star amidst potentially infinite stars and suns, and the power and the essence of that light, the sun, that has the ability to sustain an entire planet, and the power to rope other bodies into its orbit, all of that, right? These spiral patterns. We're moving into a different way of being as a society that's oriented around the light, that unifying, powerful energy that sustains life in all dimensions. And the angels are going to help us get there. More and more people are going to start to soften their very skeptical and judgmental minds. And unfortunately, they're also going to fall into desperate situations where they start to pray or they call upon God. They've never done that before. That's typically when people start to do it. That is when I did it. I forged my deepest connection to prayer. I'm gonna let the siren go by. When I was struggling the most. Because we feel like we have no other option and we have nothing to lose. But you don't have anything to lose right now. And I'm talking as if I'm assuming that you don't currently invoke the assistance of the angels. So if you do, then you know what's up. But I'm gonna do this invocation now. Let's cut the deck to get a... Wow, the page fell out. I kind of wish that hadn't happened, but... Yeah, okay. They're saying, take a page out of our book type thing. The angels are going to naturally start to influence our reality more and more because we have effectively created the bridges of light that they can transverse to be a part of this reality in a way that they didn't used to be. Yes, there's always been evidence of like apparitions and, a Mother Mary forms and people take photos of it. And there's going to be more and more of that. You're going to see like these massive, breaks in the cloud. It's going to look exactly like Jesus, like these things and these miracles and these unexplainable anomalies and enigmas in the way that physical matter is shaping itself. There's no disclosure, right? All of this stuff, I think, is the slow and soft, subtle progression into a reality. I mean, it's happening at warp speed if you really think about it, but it has to be gradual so that we don't completely break. And what's also to be noted is that there have been timelines where it didn't work, where we merged into being more of a galactic society that's aware of the existence of other beings, and humanity, like for whatever reason, imploded or wasn't able to handle it. So that's another thing, if you weren't aware of that, to be mindful of, that like we're on the timeline where it works out. So be patient, let it happen. I'm also being reminded of, I was going to share this and I forgot to at the beginning, but very weird. I've been having serious deja vus, not like little ones, like these big, I don't even know what to call them. Also, look up deja rev, deja vu, these different kinds of anomalies with like our memory or the way that we're feeling about, like, was it a dream? Was it a glitch in the matrix? I've been having memories of dreams that I dreamt in the night, literally just dreams, from 2016 and 2020 specifically. And I find that really weird because there's been obvious meddling in the way that humanity is collectively on our different timelines. But we have different people on different timelines, as we know. And there's something connected right now. I don't have this sorted out, and I'm not getting clarity on it, and I haven't gotten the call to like dig into it, because it's like, it's more or less just one of these things where it's like, we're not meant to know everything that's going on right now, nor can we. But there's something funny about that. Like, I get these, it'll be a memory, or like it feels like I'm in a dream. And I was washing my paintbrushes last night, and it's the third night in a row that I've been washing my paintbrushes. And at the exact time of like opening the thing of cleaning solution and doing this, I get the same deja vu. And I'm like, okay, so is it about the time of night? Is it about the paintbrushes? Is it about like, there's something interrelated here that's triggering this thing. So I don't know. I'm just putting that out there because it's not like, if you're like, I'm feeling funny, I'm experiencing, like, welcome. This is where you want to be. It's okay to be having funny dreams, experiences, anomalies. I'm also having like this experience within the way that air feels in my ears, where it's sort of like tinnitus. There might be ringing in one or the other. I'm used to that. We're used to that. Everybody has ringing in the ear at one time or another for a variety of reasons. But this is more like somebody is like shutting off the valve of like perception from my ears. So all of a sudden it feels like I'm like completely in a vacuum and there's like nothing happening, and then they'll like open back up. So we continue to migrate the collective path of humanity every day. And we're changing the things that we're experiencing in that way, like these funny dream things or like things not lining up, glitches. Like you might experience these massive glitches because we have never accelerated through a collective quantum leap at this rate ever before. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's so cool. And you don't have to, like, you are your own best teacher, you know? There are people that can teach us about it, but like it's the era of liberating yourself from being the response. You are not the response, you are the call. What would you like to do? What would you like to make? A lot of people are gonna be put onto these grand ideas that are ultimately going to put them onto the healing journey that they've never done. I don't want to go into all that either. Okay. It's time for this. It's time for this. I wrote this, but I don't know. I might deviate from the way I wrote it. So again, I'm doing this because I feel like it's useful. Since early July, I've been doing really specific affirmations and incantations daily. Every day, I say stuff like this. And when your vocal cords vibrate and they make words, these are particles as well. The interactions that we can't see, and think of crystallography. If you have not, Google crystallography. Look up how they did studies where you play certain music over water while it's freezing. And the patterns that freeze into the crystals of the water, there's a serious correlation between the song that was playing. And I'm not saying like little correlation. I mean like the song is like, I don't know, something about something, and it's a literal picture of that frozen into the ice. So this is like that. There's very probably, if not definitely, sentences in this invocation that you have never ever said before in your life. The full sentence. Maybe you've never said this sentence before. But when we do these things, I mean, every single word that comes out of our mouth is in fact a spell. It's an incantation. It's an invocation. I've been migrating my relationship to my voice and what I choose to affirm into this like very sacred thing where I'm like, it's like gold. Like the words I say, the intention behind them. I'm not always like this. No one's perfect. The best version of myself is the person who comes here to provide these messages because I feel like there's strings attached and I want to put the good information out there, but I am just as much a student as I am a teacher, and every day is different. But as much as I can, I am mindful about what I affirm now in a way that I was not like several months ago. This has really been a change for me since the beginning of July to see how much I could accomplish by the end of this year. And a lot has been accomplished, let me tell you. So take it or leave it. Here it is. At this time, I connect to my I am presence. I empower my consciousness to know the true infinite potential of my I am presence and of my awareness. to directly create and influence my reality. I acknowledge now that my words are an extension of my awareness, and I use their power and the power of my pure intention behind the words that I speak to create my reality now. I hereby decree that my reality is now cleared of any and all debts, karma left unresolved, hoaxes, curses, limiting incantations, binding rituals, negative implants, and any and all ill will cast towards, upon, or against me, my name, or my essence in this lifetime, and all strands of parallel realities or lifetimes in existence. I invoke with the power of my clear and calm I am presence the violet flame of God's infinite perfection, protection, and cosmic forgiveness to now burn away any and all of these energies and transmute them back into the light for the highest good of all creation, of Mother Earth, and of all souls evolving upon this earth and all parallel and simultaneous realities. I now ask Archangel Zadkiel, Saint Germain, and workers of the ultraviolet flame to please use this violet fire to clear the pathway of my highest timeline in this lifetime as, insert your name, Mariah Stewart Hill. As my energy and my I am presence in this now moment seamlessly merges with the pathway of my highest conceivable reality, I affirm that I am now activated as a magnet for miracles. I am now summoning forth all alignments necessary for my truest heart soul's desires to manifest in perfect divine timing. Everything I wish for, need, and desire is now on its way to crystallizing in my physical reality. I am the walking embodiment of my own faith in miracles. I am the walking embodiment of my own faith in miracles. I am the walking embodiment of my faith in miracles. I accept increasing evidence daily, hourly, and moment to moment of the fact that my life and reality is a perfect and pure reflection of my capacity to hold the light of love in my heart. I release now any and all self-limiting beliefs and fear that prevent or block me from embodying and enacting my fullest activated potential as Mariah Stewart Hill. I seal this powerful vibration of peace into my physical, emotional, mental, and etheric bodies and into my 12 fifth dimensional crystalline solar chakra system now, allowing for every particle and waveform of matter and energy that comprises the being I am to be radically recalibrated at the deepest and most comprehensive level so that I am now a perfect magnet for miracles, abundance, and God's infinite supply of all good things. Thank you, angels, saints, ancestors, star beings, and galactic family, and all beings of the highest frequency of love and light that are here to assist, for your infinite wisdom, protection, and guidance always. And so it is. Okay. I mean, so you can see, it's a very wordy invocation, but to directly name the fact, even if you don't believe in it, hoaxes, curses. I've been dealing with something that is very past lifey, and yet it's been affecting me in this lifetime. So I can promise you that if you were to recite this every single day for any duration of time, at least 7 days, preferably 21, you will see serious results, because a lot of us are still, we're all just onions with layers, unwinding. Energetic protection and healing is a maintenance. It's not a one and done. We know this. And the short version of that clearing, which I'm sure people are aware, is just to invoke the violet flame with Archangel Zadkiel and Saint Germain, asking for the violet fire or the violet flame to encircle you and protect your energy and burn away anything that is not of the light. I do that probably 5 times a day, every day. And I've been doing that every day for years. Okay. I had a message come in while I was reciting that, and then it left. So I'm actually just waiting to see if it comes back, like a little butterfly, see if it flies back over. Let's cut the deck while we're waiting. Awareness. It's the Magician card in this deck. Okay, just to wrap up this message, I am going to go. Thank you for watching. When the energy is like this, there are so many different messages that it would have to be. It's like one of those times where I'm like, well, it's just a 4-hour seminar and I need 6 whiteboards and I need a laser pointer and I need all this stuff. And I actually tried to upload 105 images into a software today that could process the text within those images and make a word frequency visualization for me to be able to accompany with this video, because I would like to make some points about what we've been presented with. I'm very earnestly trying to bridge the gap between the groups of skeptics who are, when they hear things about programming or any of that, they're like, oh, so you're a conspiracy theorist. I'm like, well, for those who have eyes to see, it's very easy to witness that there is programming. And I really want to just kind of get down to the nuts and bolts of what we have been presented with and analyze it. Not to prove a point, right? But to just sort of help people understand that even the way that we talk about all of that has been pigeonholed into those camps strategically to keep people separated from query and investigation that would get them closer to resonating with the truth and discovering the truth. So my intuition is telling me that I will probably not post a video for a while, because I thought this was going to go way better than it did. But I mean, I don't even want to watch it. So I wouldn't imagine that other people would. And I don't keep saying that to be like, why did I do this? I just mean I usually have a little bit more of a succinct message, and there's a lot going on. And so my preference is usually to process the crazy personally, and then when I'm ready to come back and just speak on it and not be like, I have to tell everything, then I do that when I'm ready. But anyway, I hopped in here to provide this message, and I really do encourage people to recite that incantation, because like I said before, it could immediately just free you of stuff, because maybe you've never decided to declare that. Or it could put you on a path where you've affirmed that you're consciously opening yourself to be the fully activated version of yourself, and your life will start to take some twists and turns that are going to walk you through exactly what you need to conquer or consider in order to become that person, that version. So I hope that everybody is doing well. And I hope that if you're not, that this took your mind off of things, or like, you know, just offered some support. And I'll take one more card from the Gateway of Light to conclude. Venusian Galactic Council, Star Being Guides, answer the call, time to shine. Yes. There are far more beings outside of Earth looking in on Earth saying, we are here to help. Far more beings outside of Earth asking us to call upon them than there are humans on Earth. Okay. Have a great evening.